Welcome to my channel, where the scariest stories come to life. Before we dive into today's chilling tale, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you never miss a story. Now, let's get into the horror. This happened when I was 17 and living in a small rural village. I had been at a friend's house all evening watching films and chilling. I left to go home around 11 p.m. It was quite a long walk back to my house, as she lived on the very outskirts of the village, down some back roads. I felt relatively safe, though, as when it got to a certain time of night, it was always very quiet. You would never bump into anybody, and there would hardly ever be any cars on the roads, especially at that late hour. It was actually weirdly peaceful. Where I lived was a large avenue with two big blocks of houses, like two big circles that you would get to after following a small, dark road lined with a few large old houses and a vicarage. As I was passing by, I saw this beat-up little red Nissan Micra coming toward me. The closer it got, the more it slowed down. The guy was clearly breaking his neck trying to look at me. There was absolutely nothing subtle about it. It nearly came to a full stop as it drew alongside me, and I began to panic. There was not a single other soul about, just me and this strange guy. I was determined, though, not to get myself in a tizzy, so I picked up the pace and refused to look at him. As far as I know, he just drove off without attempting anything further. I continued to walk home. At this point, I was literally 5 minutes away in a straight line. I kept listening out for a car engine or any noises to indicate he might be following me. I was also vigilant for any headlights creeping up behind me. I heard nothing, though, and saw nothing either. I breathed a big sigh of relief as I could now see my house within view. I walked in and locked the door. I saw my mom standing in the living room chatting with someone on the phone. I was trying to interrupt her conversation to tell her about that weird guy in the red car when, for some reason, she went over to the front window and peeked through the curtain. She took the phone away from her ear and said, "What's that car?" This was all within a minute of me walking through the door. I was thinking to myself, it can't be him, because if he had followed me, I would have heard his car before I even got the chance to look for myself. Then came a knock at the front door. As I went to answer it, only pulling it open a few inches, there he was, standing there empty-handed, wearing a baseball cap. It was the very same guy from the car. I have no idea how he followed me without me noticing. "Can I help you?" "Yeah, did you order a pizza?" he asked me. "No, I think you have the wrong house." He took a step toward me and said again, in a not messing around kind of tone, "No," I said, "did you order a pizza?" Before I could reply, my mom came up behind me, opened the door fully, and said, "Is there a problem here?" This caused the man to back up and mumble. I guess he was not expecting anyone else to be home. "Oh, I'm sorry, I must have had the wrong address." He took off and hopped in his car, speeding off into the night. Safe to say, we were both a bit spooked after this and made sure every part of the property was locked up properly. This happened earlier this week, and it still freaks me out. I work at a hotel in my town and was driving my husband's truck into work. He was taking mine into the shop that day to get it serviced. He has a very large truck, and I only drive it when I absolutely have to. When I pulled into the side parking lot, I noticed the entire lot was covered in snow. No one could see the lines for the spots. So, of course, I began, like a moron, to try and park in what I hoped was an actual spot, backing up and moving forward several times. When I finally managed to park, I got out of the truck and grabbed my backpack. All of a sudden, I could hear someone yelling from the sidewalk behind the parking lot. "Hey, you need to learn how to fucking park." I was embarrassed but just closed the truck, locked it, and began to walk to the front of the building. The hotel had a side entrance for employees only. It required a code, and I have a really bad memory. Usually, I would just walk around to the front and go in through the main entrance. All of a sudden, I could hear the guy yelling again. "Did you hear me?" I walked faster and took a peek behind me. I could see the man was now following me. I kept walking but called back, "Please leave me alone, sir. I need to get to work." Before I could reach the corner of the building and make my way to the entrance, the man sprinted up to me, gripped my arm, and spun me around. I'll never forget what this guy looked like for as long as I live. He wore dark clothes with a torn-up winter coat. His eyes were extremely bloodshot, and he smelled like a combination of cigarettes and whiskey. I guessed he must have been drunk, but he didn't slur at all when speaking. "You're coming with me now." The man began to drag me back toward the truck, and I tried to pull away from him. "Give me the keys. We're taking a drive." I began to scream for help, and his grip on my arm got even tighter. I'm a 26-year-old woman and not skinny at all, but I was a lot smaller than this guy. He was dragging me so easily, and the snow on the ground just made my feet slide along. I screamed out for help, but no one was around to hear us. I kept fighting to get away from him. I prayed there would be any guests who could possibly hear me, but it was our slow season, so most likely there was no one in the rooms on that side of the building. The guy turned back to glare at me. "Shut the fuck up and give me the damn keys." I was carrying my backpack on one shoulder. It was big and bulky from my uniform and shoes. I quickly slipped the strap down my arm, grabbed it, and swung it right into his face. The guy let go of me, and I ran for my life to the front doors. I could hear him screaming behind me, but I ignored him. I was way too scared to look back. I ran inside and all the way to the employee locker rooms. When I finally calmed down enough, I went to the front desk to talk to security. Sadly, there were no cameras on that side of the building, so none of this was recorded. They called the cops, and I made a report. The cops informed the general manager of the hotel that they needed to seriously consider installing security cameras on that side of the building, as drunks and druggies were known to hang around the area. They got a description of the man and said they would keep an eye out for him. The manager apologized like crazy about the incident, but I told him it wasn't really his fault. He was a really good guy. I did ask security to follow me out so I could check on the truck. Thankfully, it was fine. After that, the security guard promised to make more rounds outside, especially in the early morning. And that was about it. For some context, I'm a 19-year-old college student, and earlier this past year, I decided to create a Grindr profile, because why the hell not? After all, I'm single, so I may as well be a dumb college student while I'm a dumb college student, right? My friends and I were studying late one night in their dorm room. Like always, all my close friends lived together in the dorm, so their lounge was our primary hangout spot. It was a little after midnight when I decided to go on Grindr. At this point, I had been on the app for about 2 months and had gone on a fair number of dates. When I opened the app this time, I saw that I had received a message from a guy. I don't really remember his name, so I'll just refer to him as the guy. I clicked on his profile. He was a pretty cute dude. He had a shirtless picture, which was common, and he was attractive enough for me to want more information. His caption read, "In town for work." I read his bio, and he explained that he was staying at a nearby hotel and was able to host visitors there. I replied to his message and began the typical Grindr small talk. "How are you? What are you into? Can you host, etc.?" After talking for about a half hour and exchanging pictures, we agreed to meet. I must say, I didn't get any indication that this guy was a catfish, or that I was talking to someone who wasn't who they said they were. Usually, it was pretty obvious when someone was fake, or so I told myself. At the very least, whenever I decided to meet up with someone, I'd always tell one of my friends and share my location. I did that this time too. The hotel was about 10 minutes from my university. As I was driving there, the guy messaged me and asked, "Hey, so my business partner might be coming back soon. Would it be cool if we just did this stuff in your car?" It wasn't an unusual request to engage in car play, but I did start to get a bit suspicious. Why would his business partner be arriving this late? Then again, I was out this late, so I brushed it off and kept driving. I arrived at the hotel around 1 a.m. I looked at my phone again and saw another message from him. Hey, can you pull around to the back of the hotel? I drove into the lot and made my way to the back, past the pool. That's when things started to get weird. As I pulled into the back of the hotel lot, I noticed a guy in a red hoodie standing between some cars. I assumed that was the guy I had been talking to. I pulled into one of the spots beneath a light post, about 20 feet from a dumpster that sat in the corner of the lot. By this point, the guy in the red hoodie had gone out of sight. Instinctively, I clicked the button to lock my doors. I checked the app again and got another message. Yeah, pull back next to the dumpster. I assumed that since I was under the light, he was worried we'd be caught if a guest or hotel staff saw us or something. Still, I was starting to get really sketched out. Maybe it was just my anxiety getting the best of me. I put my car in reverse, backed up toward the dumpster, and parked. I scanned the lot for this guy, but I didn't see anyone. The red hoodie guy was gone too. I felt my heart rate spike, and I started getting cold sweats. I remember thinking, man, maybe I shouldn't have driven out here. I checked the app again and saw I had another message. Okay, now turn your car off and get into the back seat. That's when my fight or flight response kicked in. Without thinking, I turned the car on and hauled us out of there. I sped out of the lot as fast as my poor 04 could go. I didn't even stop to check for traffic. Once I got about 2 miles away, I pulled into a McDonald's parking lot. I was trembling. Maybe I overreacted. I opened the app again to see if he'd messaged anything else, maybe a WTF, why'd you leave? Or something. But the messages were gone. So was his profile. I assumed he blocked me. When I searched, I couldn't find his account anywhere. That's when it hit me, whatever he had planned wasn't good. Was he trying to rob me? Steal my car? Or maybe something worse? Needless to say, I deleted the app after that. To anyone who uses dating apps, be careful who you meet, where you meet, and always take precautions. Our parents told us to never talk to strangers for a reason. After all, you never really know who's on the other side of that screen. Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to give the video a like and leave a comment with your thoughts. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a terrifying tale. See you in the next one.